Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Zach here, Whole Body Experience number 4. We just finished our morning training sessions in here and actually met somebody from out of town that's been doing our distance program and absolutely crushing it. So that was awesome. She's able to come into town today. We are going to talk about this topic of energy and how people are by and large going about it the exact wrong way. Now, I posted a question this morning that is breakfast literally the most important meal of the day? You may have heard that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Is it true? Is it not true? Some people says it doesn't matter, just about what you eat versus when you eat. Now, intermittent fasting is a huge craze right now, and I realize some people have seen great results from it. I will say personally, I myself intermittent fasted back in like 2013 through about 2015 or 16. I was a lot leaner back then. I also wasn't as strong as I am now, and I also began to really exacerbate my energy issues. When we don't get food in the first thing in the morning, we are experiencing, some people talk about experiencing a lot of energy from fasting. By and large, I'm going to argue that the majority of that energy is going to be derived from adrenaline. If I'm hungry, my body needs food. It needs energy from food. That's where we get energy from. My body is going to do everything it can in order to persuade me to go out and start hunting or gathering. So the energy that people are claiming comes from fasting, I'm going to say and assert that most of it's going to be adrenaline. And over time, if you do have issues with your thyroid, if you have issues with your adrenals, this is ultimately going to create less and less energy, and you're going to exhaust yourself. I know this firsthand. In addition to not eating in the morning to intermittent fasting in the afternoon, I was training very hard, and over time I lost strength. I was losing weight, but a lot of that was also lean mass. It wasn't necessarily just body fat. There's a physiological principle for this. Every single day now I am doing high amounts of protein first thing in the morning. There's been some great articles written, one by Marty Kendall, who was analyzing this claim from Tim Ferriss years ago to try to get 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes of waking up. He was testing to see if that was true. Now, he has access to over 1 million data points that's been entered into tracking apps for nutrition, and they were finding a correlation that people who were getting 10% of their calories in the form of protein within 30 minutes of waking up were, in fact, living leaner overall. This could be explained by a lot of different things, but the point is that getting our food first thing in the morning is going to set us up to have energy and sustained energy during the day. This leads into breaking the cycle that most people are in. If you're hungry, what's going to happen? Majority of the people are overly stressed from work, from commitments. When I am stressed, I am going to resort to behaviors that fix that stress in the moment. I'm going to look to get dopamine. I'm going to look to feel good and solve the problem, solve the crisis right then and there. I'm not thinking long term. I don't care how disciplined you can be. Eventually, you will hit a point where if you're hungry enough, you will be eating whatever is available to you once you're over your stress threshold. If you throw kids into the mix, jobs, careers, other obligations in your community or to your family or to your friends, you will hit that stress threshold where you will choose to eat. Now, what's available? Well, the majority of food around us is not healthy. I hate to break it to you if you haven't figured that one out yet, but the majority of the food is meant to be hyper palatable to where we're going to consume it. And highly processed foods, we're actually absorbing more energy. It sounds counterintuitive, but if something has been highly processed and I have something, hey coach, hey, what's going on? How you doing, James? Nice to see you, man. If I'm eating the same amount of energy, but I'm eating a whole food source versus a highly processed source, I'm going to actually get a higher percentage of these calories from this processed source. So now my 2,000 calories here are going to be absorbed completely different from my 2,000 calories here. My decision making ultimately is what's affecting me having too much weight on my body. That goes for almost everybody. I realize there's thyroid conditions, there's other medical situations, but by and large, we're speaking now to people who just don't have the habits for living lean and strong on a daily basis. What's going to continue that cycle? It's going to continue that. I'm going to continue eating this way and making these decisions the more stressed I am. So I get stressed. I start to energy crash. I'm reaching for coffee. I'm reaching for energy drinks. I'm reaching for highly palatable foods that are immediately ready and hot and available for me. This is going to create another crash later in the day. Then you can see where this is going on. It's going to affect my sleep patterns. Now I'm trying to sleep in as late as possible, or I'm relying on caffeine first thing in the morning just to feel half awake. It's going to eventually flip my cortisol rhythm. We have a daily rhythm where our cortisol is supposed to be very high in the morning. People think of cortisol as a hormone like this evil thing out to get us. In the reality, cortisol is is essential hormone, just like every hormone in our body. It's supposed to be very high in the morning. So then when I wake up, I feel alert, I feel energized, and I'm ready to get on to my day and do awesome stuff. The problem is that chronic stress is going to flip that. I wake up and now my cortisol is super, super low. And in the evenings, it's going to be super elevated. Now, one of the fastest ways to break this is to start eating within, 30 minutes or less of your day. Get that 10% of your calories in the form of protein. I can help you break that down. Just comment below or PM me. The other thing is going to be to add a healthy amount of starch into it and a healthy source of starch. So now in our system, to start off, we're using the old tried and true hand guide system. If you're not familiar with it, PM me again. That's another reason that we can talk. Calorie counting is really overrated. In the beginning, your hand is going to serve as your guide. So if I have a high quality starch first thing in the morning, there's physiological reasons for this. I can't get into it. It was given to me by one of my coaches, and she's writing a book on it, so I'm not going to steal anybody else's information. But rest assured, I have very sound physiological principles behind stating this, that eating the starch first thing in the morning with my protein is going to fuel me far better, and it's going to break the cycle of relying on adrenaline to get through the day. We talked a little bit about the reptilian brain. Another thing that triggers reptilian brain is trying to restrict too much. Eventually, you're going to hit that threshold. You're going to be seeking food in whatever form you can get it. So the biggest way to break all this is how? Focus on developing strength and power every single day. Make your body more strong, make your body as powerful as possible. It's going to help you do all the awesome things that you want to commit to. It's going to help you be a better parent. It's going to help you build a better career or be better in the job if you're an entrepreneur, busting your ass for somebody else. The more energy I have first thing in the morning, the better I'm going to do. Me personally, having gone the intermittent fasting route and now doing what I do now, I'm not going to claim I have a six-pack because I don't. Ultimately, I know that I am leaning out at a much slower, more maintainable, permanent pace. But for me, what's mostly cool is that I'm setting strength PRs, and when I do have the time to go to jiu-jitsu or do all these other things, I'm setting energy PRs and power PRs on a daily basis. It's making me more patient with my children. It's making me put more forth effort here. A video like this I would not have done even last year. I was just so burnt out from doing things back-asswards that I wouldn't even have the energy to get myself up to do something like this, just because, as you already know, if you feel down, you're not going to be, putting yourself out, challenging yourself in the ways that's going to lead to a fulfilling life and ultimately your strongest, leanest, healthiest body. If you have any questions or comments down below, even if you 100% disagree with me, happy to discuss it and cite my sources for all this. I hope this really helps, though. Really start to focus on that first meal of the day. Some people are able to dive in and they're able to go from where they are, and they're, pretty quickly able to adopt a pretty strict regimen where they can eat, 3 to 5 times a day, or whatever the right number is based on their schedules, which we determine in our consult process. Other people, you really have to focus on one meal at a time. If you're the person that's really struggling making changes, focus on the minimal, the least habit change that you can make that's going to deliver the biggest impact overall. And for a lot of people, if you're not eating first thing in the morning, it's going to be getting up and getting that balanced nutrition like I've just discussed. So focus on that. Get moving. Even if you're not ready to lift, I can show you how to easily get moving just to build up your power through movement. Our bodies are wired to create energy. We don't need energy all the time coming in from our, external environment. That is, something I do think that some of the intermittent fasters do get correct. But again, we don't want to be relying on adrenaline all day. So if you have questions or comments down below, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Make a great day, everybody. Bye. Finish.